on the canteen's porch stood an unfriendly girl who hit me on the back of the head earlier. At the sight of her, my joking mood vanished in a blink of an eye. Really, not the best time to be pulling this guy's leg, even though he is quite hilarious. First, I need to figure out what's what here, or at least where I am. Hey, oh, I can't do the voice. Oh my god. Hello, over there. That's Alyssa too. Holy crap, your last name. Alyssa. Your last name, girl. Davashkinskaya. Davashkinskaya. Thank God we don't use Russian last names first. Over there. That's Alyssa Jiskinskaya. Be careful around her. He spoke in a whisper. Diva means two in Russian. The whole nickname sounds exactly like Toucha in Russian. A reference to the late Toucha anonymously imagined. Not imagined, but don't ever risk calling her Davashek. Dava means two in Russian. The whole nickname sounds exactly like Toucha. Okay, so don't ever risk calling her Touchero Jin. She doesn't like that. I'm just gonna call her Toucha. Toucha. What did I have as her voice? What did you say? What did you call me? She must have heard him. In the blink of a eye. I can't read today. In the blink of an eye, Alyssa jumped down from the porch and dashed towards us. Alright, you managed from here onwards. Electronic took to the heels. Yeah. I decided that I had no wish to come across that aggressive Alyssa girl again and darted after Electronic. Running to the square, I lost sight of him, but Davinchkiska wasn't chasing me either. However, I should really not risk calling her that, even in my mind. After catching my breath, I wondered why I had reacted like that. Alright, she is a girl. An aggressive one. But why run away? Because she's scary as crap. Failing to find a good answer, I sat on the bench and stared at the dots. Looks like I'll have to kill time alone waiting for dinner. I decided to go east. At least in this direction where east would be in my world. Soon after, I found myself near a football pitch. A game was in full swing there. I guess watching it for a bit won't do any harm. In my childhood and teen years, I was not a bad player myself and even thought of going professional, but a few injuries in a row killed my desire to risk my health for the sake of an uncertain chance in a game. Kids of different ages were running around on the pitch. I could see a boy about 10 and a girl about 14 years old. A girl. Hey, it's Lena. Oh, right, she plays football. Why is this surprising? She seems like a restless one after all. I was standing quite far from the pitch, but she still noticed me. Hey, you! Lena shouted. Wanna play? I didn't know how to answer. On the one hand, running around for 10 minutes is no big deal. On the other hand, any wrong move in my situation could be my final one. But in any case, my attire wasn't suitable for this weather. If I played in winter boots and warm jeans, I would sweat like a pig. And playing barefoot without jeans would simply be unethical. Maybe another time, alright? I shouted in response. Maybe another time. turned around and walked back. I was followed by Lena's screams about my pants or them being pantsy or something like that. Dots. Evening was falling, making me feel tired and empty as the days wasted with no real purpose. I came back to the square, sat down on the bench, and gave an exhausting sigh. I better sit here and wait for dinner. After all, it seems easier to search for answers when you're not hungry. They do give food. They do give food to people here, right? What is that? What came out of me just now? I'm tapping into my creative side. It's curious how the simple human need can break the willpower bond on thing to thrive or something. It's gonna be someone's voice. I can feel it in my bones. For example, I feel hungry now, so I care much less about where I am or what's happening to me. Could gray people also be affected by the... I'm gonna ignore that. And in that case, how did... My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of bells chiming from a loudspeaker on a light pole. It must be the dinner call. I headed towards the canteen. It was a good thing I knew where it was. Olga Dmitrieva was there standing on the porch. I stopped, looked closely at her, as if she was expecting someone. She looked back at me for a while, but at last came closer. Semyon, what are you waiting for? Come in already. Come on. Guess nothing bad can happen if I go with her. My stomach backed me up here. Oh, wow. Wow. That girl, she's like, this is the best thing ever. And that guy behind her. And then this guy right here. I saw someone over here. And I bet this person's like, oh my god, I look so fab today. Oh my god. The two of us went inside. The canteen looked like a canteen. I had a chance to visit a factory canteen at some point in my life. This one was exactly the same, just maybe a bit cleaner and more modern. Metal chairs and tables, glazed tiles on the wall, and on the floor, unsophisticatedly tableware was the occasional crack. Guess that was what a canteen in a pioneer camp was supposed to look like. Semyon, wait a moment. We'll find you somewhere to sit. She looked around the place. Davinskitska. Hold it right there. Olga Dmitrievna shouted at Alyssa, who was passing by. What? What is up with their clothes? Anything wrong with them? Indeed, her attire looked somewhat provocative. Get your uniform nice and neat right now. All right. Alyssa got her shirt right and walked past, scooting an unpleasant glare at me. So, where can we find you a place to sit? There weren't a lot of free seats. Go over there and see Lena. Maybe I, should... Yeah, it's fine. The food's already on the table, too. I had no other choice but to accept. In common Russian language, Cutlet. Cutlet is minced meat, fried or baked in the shape of a ball or a cylinder, close to American patties. Compote is a drink made of boiling fresh or dried fruit in a large amount of water, component in French. So, coletta, and compote. Of course, there was the probability that the cutlets were poisoned with curain, the mashed potatoes generously seasoned with arsenic, and the glass filled with excellent antifreeze instead of compote. but it all looked so tasty that I had no chance to resist.
Hey.
What do you want? I'm eating, like, buzz off, kid. I replied rather rudely to Lena, who was sitting right next to me.
Why didn't you play football with us? I mean, come on.
Because of what I'm wearing? Said I, pointing out the source of the problem.
Oh, alright then. Eat.
However, there wasn't much left to eat. My cutlet was missing from the plate.
Only she could have done it.
No, more precisely, none but Lena could have done it. Alright, give me back my cutlet, like now.
In a big family, you snooze, you lose. It can cost you a cutlet if you're careless.
Give it back. I'm serious. I looked at her menacingly and was about to reach out my hand.
See? I don't have it.
And indeed, Yolena's plate was empty. It seemed that this little girl eats as fast as she steals someone's cutlets.
Take it easy. We'll work something out now.
She grabbed my plate and ran off. There was no point in following her. If they wanted to poison me here, they would have done it in a much easier way. About a minute, Yolena returned and handed me a plate with steaming hot cutlet on it.
Here, one for the starving.
Thanks. It was all I could say. I was so hungry that my suspicions were gone in a flash. I picked up the cutlet with my fork and... What the? Some bug? No, not a bug. An insect. It's got legs and it's wiggling. The plate fell onto the floor and broke into The plate fell on the floor and broke into pieces. The chair hit me as hard on the leg as it was falling. I've disliked insects since I was a child, but when these were creepy crawlies appear on my plate, that was just way too much. You little... Yolena seemed ready for such a twist and was already at the door, laughing as if she heard a fresh stand-up comedy joke. I dashed after her. We ran out of the canteen. We were just a few dozen meters apart, and I felt like I would catch this little girl easily. We ran through the square, past the clubhouse, and ran into the forest path. I started to gasp for breath. I should have quit smoking, I guess. Yolena passed out of sight on the next turn. It can't be true that she managed to get away from me. It simply can't. I stopped and tried to catch my breath again. Dots. Night was falling. Looks like I'm lost. It's a bad idea to stay in the woods at night, but I got back to the camp. However, I had absolutely no clue where to go. Well, gotta choose at random. When in doubt, go left. Please go left. I wandered for quite some time in the forest and even thought of crying for help, but I finally saw the victim's fans beyond the trees. Everything fell back into place. The bus is gone. On one hand, there was nothing strange about that. The bus just couldn't stay there forever. On the other hand, it meant there was someone driving, because buses don't drive themselves. Or do they? The world seems so normal. But every event here had at least two explanations for it. An ordinary, real, everyday explanation, and a surreal one. Certainly, the driver couldn't have just gone out for a snack, and I left too soon, and that's why. In any case, there's not a place for me. Whether the bus drives itself or not probably was not an important question, but it was much more important to know I'd gotten there at all. And where this here was. The fields of the woods drifting towards the horizons had no answers, and there was nothing familiar about them. A strange, odd, alien world. However, at the same time, it was absolutely frightening. Not frightening. Either my self-preservation instinct decided to resign from its job, or all this running around the camp and the local pioneers had lulled me so much with their carefree normality that I had simply forgotten what had happened to me just a couple of hours ago. although I probably just had no strength left to worry. All I wanted was some peace, calmness. I just wanted to have a break from it all, and only after that I would continue looking for answers, ready and relocated. However, that would take some time. What about now? Can I allow myself to relax? It got completely dark, and in my case, it was better to spend the night in the camp. I was about to head back when someone came up silently from behind me.
Hello, what are you doing here so late?
It was Sylvia standing before me. I was so surprised that I jumped. So, you didn't catch Lena, did you? She smiled. I nodded disappointedly inside. No wonder. No one ever has. Yeah, she's a real rocket girl. She could have found a better use for her energy than looking for adventures.
You must be hungry. You didn't manage to have dinner after all.
Indeed, I had completely forgotten about my hunger. But after these words of hers, my stomach drew attention to itself by giving a traitorous rumble. Sylvia smiled.
Let's go then.
What, is the canteen still open?
It's all right. I have the keys.
The keys?
Yeah, I have all the keys to the facilities in this camp.
How come?
Well, I'm something like the camp's leader aide here.
I see. Well, let's go. It was an offer you can't refuse. When we reached the square, Sylvia stopped in her tracks.
Excuse me, I should warn my roommate that I'll be late. She's so punctual herself that she'll get worried otherwise. You go on to the canteen and I'll come in a minute, all right?
All right. I really did not expect to find someone aside from myself here at such a late hour. And that somebody was apparently trying hopelessly to open the door. Without any secret thoughts, I walked up into the porch. The lockpicker turned out to be Alyssa. I should have probably kept off and waited. She looked at me intently for a while and said, Don't just stand there. Give me a hand or something. Meaning, help me open the door. Why? Because I want some buns and kefir. Dinner wasn't big enough. Why do you somehow have an accent? Aren't you hungry yourself? And it doesn't matter. Your Lena won't have you have normal dinner, did she? She smiled sarcastically. It's true, she didn't. It's fine, Sylvia will come now and... What? Guess I shouldn't have said that. I'm off then. You will pay for this. You owe me 2 already. Having said that, Alyssa disappeared into the night. And what was the first one? Sylvia didn't keep me waiting for too long.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, why are you asking?
No reason, it's nothing. It would be better if I didn't tell her about...
It would be better if I didn't tell her about Alyssa. Everything's fine. I said that and immediately heard a note of dishonesty in my voice.
Well, shall we go?
As for Sylvia, she seemed not to have noticed anything, or at least she was pretending she hadn't. We entered the canteen.
Wait a bit, I'll go get something.
I sat down on a chair and obediently waited for my savior. My dinner was simple, a few buns and a glass of kefir. No wonder, I bet hungry pioneers finished everything off. However, even that was far better than my most usual diet. Sylvia sat across from me from the table and looked at me while I was eating. Is there something on my face?
No, just... She smiled. So how do you like your first day at the camp?
Well, I don't really know. It's silly to ask someone who just found themselves in a different reality whether he liked the food in the canteen, the camp leader, or his assigned hut.
It's all right. You'll soon get used to it.
Sylvia stared out the window dreamily. Frankly speaking, I have no desire to get used to such things, but as for her, she doesn't know. Or at least, she wants me to think that she doesn't. Well, all in all, it's nice here. I had to somehow break the awkward silence.
Do you think so?
She asked me without any interest. Yeah, this place is so... I wanted to say retro, but managed to hold that back. After all, it was retro for me, but what about them? It might be the only kind of life they know. If the term life was applicable here, at all.
So how?
She watched me closely, as if something important depended on my answer. Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Lovely, yeah, it's lovely here.
I guess you're right.
She smiled again.
It's very good that you think so.
Why?
Well, not everybody likes it here.
And what about you? Do you like it here?
Me?
Yeah.
I love it here. It's great.
Then you don't need to worry about what other people think.
Well, I don't really worry, per se.
This conversation seemed to be leaving me far astray from where I wanted to get to.
And you're worried yourself?
Really? Why do you say so?
Well, when someone is chewing so intensely...
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I couldn't bring myself to be more cautious around this girl. But why her in particular? Why not just any local inhabitant? Every one of them looks completely normal to me. Precisely normal, so normal it sends chills down my spine into my marrow. Normally not like the neighbor with a power drill in one hand and a scuba woofer in the other. Not like the passenger you can often meet in a subway on a public transport. Not like a coworker at the next table at an open office plan. And not even a friend who differs from humans in a constant instance. All of them look normal, as if I would expect them to be, with their own downsides or without any superpowers. And Slavia was also cute. I glanced at her I glanced at her subtly, not knowing what to say.
I'm sorry, I wanted to show you the camp, but was run off my feet.
I didn't miss anything while on my own, I guess.
Are you sure you haven't missed anything at all?
She smiled so brightly that I had to drop my eyes in confusion. Well, how would I know? It's my first day here.
Okay, and what have you seen so far?
I've seen the square, this canteen, the football field.
And what about the beach?
Just from afar.
You really should go there, or let's do it together.
Yeah, okay, we will. Her naturalness started to scare me, but then I thought, what if everything that happens here is how it's supposed to be, and this world looks strangely only to me, while for them, it is normal? Maybe I was thrown into the past. Yeah, that would explain a lot. Can I ask a stupid question?
No.
Sylvia smiled and stood up from the table.
It's late. Can you find the way to Oglethorpe first? It's late. Can you find the way to Oglethorpe first? It's late. Can you find the way to Oglas by yourself? It's late. Can you find the way to Oglas? It's late. Can you find the way to Oglas by yourself?
Of course I can, but why should I go there?
She'll settle you in with someone.
What for?
Probably this question seems stupid, but Sylvia brushed into a good-natured laughter. You need somewhere to sleep, right?
That makes sense.
Fine, I'll be off then. Good night.
Night. It's strange that she left in such a hurry. A bundle of keys in the door lock caught my attention. I was going to catch up to Slavia, but where does she live? After knocking on every door in the middle of the night doesn't sound like a great idea. I'll take those keys. I better take them. I'll give them back tomorrow because who knows what happens here at night. Such thoughts give me chills. It's me who needs to be careful here in the first place. The night, though dark, wasn't silent at all. One could hear chirping crickets, the song of the night birds, rustling trees from everywhere. A sudden desire to follow Slavia's advice to go to the camp leader's cabin appeared. I don't know why, but the sight of the unknown bronze boulder of communism brought me into a constructive mood. I sat on the bench and started to recall everything that happened today. This was my constructive mood could offer. It was much brighter than near Canteen. The tardy prisoners were running by, so this place didn't seem scary at all. Bus, summer, camp girls. I was so tired from everything new and strange that I couldn't come up with a single explanation for what's going on. I heard a barely noticeable rustle nearby. I shivered and looked in that direction. A girl, reading a book. Lena. I decided to move closer and talk. She was the only new person I had met here without even exchanging a few words. Hi, what are you reading? Lena was so surprised that she even jumped. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Never mind. She blushed and started reading the book again. So what are you reading? On the cover was Gone with the Wind. We will praise the book. A good book. Thanks. Honestly speaking, I've never read it, but I think that such literature suits her very well. And then I didn't seem surprised and continuing the conversation. Well, if I'm bothering you. No. She answered while still looking at the book. Can I sit beside you for a while? Why? And really, why? Maybe just because I was tired and having company is better than being alone. And maybe I wanted to try something out with her. I carefully examined Lena. But no, I doubt that. Well, I don't know. I'm not allowed to? Feel free. But if I'm bothering you... No, you're not. I can leave, just say. Everything's alright. Okay then. I sat on the end of the bench carefully. After such an intense talk, staying here was the last thing I wanted, but it wouldn't be nice to just stand up and leave. That didn't really go well, huh? Lena hasn't answered anything. It seems I made a fool out of myself. I bet if Lena was here, she would have had a good laugh at me. Do you enjoy being here? I recalled Sylvia's question and thought it would be a good start for the conversation. Yes. She smiled slightly. I guess I like it too. Lena definitely isn't sociable and probably can't carry on a meaningless... Lena definitely isn't very sociable and probably can't carry on a meaningless conversation as easy as Sulliva. But there was something about her that attracted attention. Like a momentary glimpse of reflection in a glass on a rainy autumn evening, which make you turn around and stare into darkness, searching for something that you saw out of the corner of your eye. Of course.
Why can't I read today?
This is the second part. And it's only 9 o'clock, you guys. It's only 9 o'clock. Of course you weren't able to distinguish or understand what it was, but it felt so tempting. Then I was still reading a book without paying attention to my presence, and I had no intention of asking her anything about this camp or the world in general. Beautiful night. Yeah. How in the world would you start a conversation with her? It's late, I have to go. Yeah, it's quite late. Good night. Night. There was something strange about this girl. At first glance, she is a typical shy and modest pioneer girl, but the mysterious Lena took its own place at a massive list of mysteries about the camp. which I had started to put together in my head.